Welcome into another episode of the Clapp Trap, and we have the return of Coach Camire back onto the show. Very excited to get everything that he is thinking about the Patriots, a little bit of Celtics talk as well. We got to get his opinions on things. You had a nice little off season kind of from the Clapp Trap. We bring you in sometimes, but we're got to get you back on, ready for the season here. So first of all, Coach, how's your off season been? How you doing? And also thank you for coming back onto the show.
Oh man, I miss it definitely. We're doing good though. I'm excited to be back on, and excited for this Patriots season about to start.
All right, that's good. That's good. That's what I want to hear. I want to hear that we're excited. I'm excited to have you back on. I'm excited for football to start. Obviously, that's when the show is at its best, when we have football and then the Celtics come on and you got the major sports that everybody is really happy about to watch. Not these Red Sox that I've been just, complaining about all summer long about, that's a whole nother story. We won't even get into them today. But we had the Thursday night game happen last night. It is officially football season. We're not going to talk about them. We got a much more important team to talk about in the Patriots. So I got to just start off the show asking you real quick, Coach Camire, what is your confidence level, scale of 1 to 10, going into this season for the Patriots?
I hear a lot of negative connotations with the Patriots. Anytime I click on 98.5 or something like that, anytime these sports radios, they're all just talking trash. Saying I've heard Belichick's lost his fastball. I've heard multiple accounts saying that the offense is trash. We have nobody to call the plays, this and that. But I think this year we're definitely going to be better than we were last year. Last year, we were a playoff team. I don't see how we got worse in any way, shape, or form, other than losing Josh McDaniels. I literally lost to why people are saying that we are this horrible team that's going to start 0-4, 0-5, whatever I've heard. And I just think it's ridiculous. I don't think a Patriots organization, even when we had Cam Newton, I didn't hear this type of negativity to start the season. Even when we had Cam Newton, guys were like, "Oh, we'll still make the playoffs, this and that." Obviously, we didn't, but I just don't understand the level of negativity that is with the average sports fan and talk show hosts and all that right now. I'm pretty out of 1 to 10. I'm probably an 8.3. I'll give myself an 8.3. As far as my confidence level heading into the season.
All right. So Wes Welker, 83, 8.3, ready to go like that, headed into the season. You're confident. I mean, I think that you nailed it, though. The major reason that a lot of people aren't confident in this team right now is the coaching change. Everybody's like, what are we doing here? We got Matt Patricia coming in. He's supposed to be the offensive guy now. He's been known as a defensive coordinator. I get that, even though you've even heard the things about how the first coaching job for Josh McDaniels was a defensive coordinator. Now he's an offensive coordinator. So things can change, but I get where the low confidence level comes from, just because it's you're putting everything on Bill, right? So that's a lot of places where he's got to have his hand here, here, and here, if you're assuming that Patricia can't really give you anything from a coaching standpoint. So that's kind of where it's at from there. Right now, for me, I'm kind of at around probably a 7, I would say, just because of that. And I don't know how things are going to turn out. I feel confident in Mac. I feel confident in guys that we brought in, like Devontae Parker, to be able to make guys slot into different roles. I'm happy about that kind of stuff. But the coaching is kind of where I'm at, where I don't really feel that confident. And that's kind of my next question that I had for you on everything. What part of the team would you say you're most confident in right now going into the season, whether it's offense, defense, special teams, or the coaching staff? Where are you at? Who are you most confident in?
I'm most confident in our offense. I think our offense took a step forward. We got Devontae Parker. You have Damian Harris going to a contract year. You have Ramondre Stevenson still looking to kind of break out, and we just saw glimpses of him last year.
Right.
So, and we drafted a couple of young guys. JJ Taylor's been in the mix here and there. I don't know. We did keep him, right?
You may have put him onto the practice squad, but he's there anyway. So,
well, regardless, I think we have weapons. I mean, I think that's still that core receiving group that we had. although there is no superstar number one, there's no Randy Moss in this Patriots offense.
Right.
There hasn't really been one for a while now. I mean, we've always had second and third tier receivers. We just had a lot of second and third tier receivers. Like, Myers is still going to go out there and be a great possession receiver, move the chains, get you first downs. You had a good rapport with Mac last year. Kendrick Bourne, who obviously you've heard, he's been a little, disgruntled with, coaching staff and this and that this offseason. I still think he's going to produce in the slot like he did last year for us. Devontae Parker, I mean, that's just like the big body receiver that we always wished N'Keal Harry would be. And I think Devontae Parker has been established in this league for a long time. He's burnt us on the Miami Dolphins before pretty badly.
Yeah.
So I think it'd be nice week one for maybe him to return the favor and get us back one, that he took away from us a little while ago, Yep. So I think, the O-line, obviously you have new guys in there. You have Strange, who's obviously a rookie. He's going to have his growing pains, this and that. But I mean, the rest of the guys they are veterans, and you've been hearing things like the tackles are a little disgruntled, this and that. But it's like, I think anytime you switch offensive coordinators, there's going to be a little bit of people. Every single time you switch an offense, it's going to be the people who wanted to keep it the way it's always been, and they're going to combat the people who want change.
Right.
So I think for a number of years, having McDaniels there running our offense and everything, I think definitely in the past 2 to 3 years, we've heard more and more people getting disgruntled with McDaniels and his play calling, saying he's too obvious. He's throwing screens on 3rd and long instead of trying to throw the ball down the field. He's running the ball too much. He's not trusting Mac enough. Even when we had Cam, he's not doing the right offense with Cam.
Right.
You heard all the negativity when we even had McDaniels here, and now we get rid of him. You wanted something new, and now we're bringing in something new. You're starting to work some outside zone. You're starting to work a little bit more spread look. You're doing some different things in the offense that we haven't done before. And obviously, when you first install those things into your offense, it's not going to be pretty. It's not going to look good. But the whole idea is in these preseason games, you go and you run and rep these plays, and now you get reps and reps, and you got film on them. And then with film, you get what these coaches are really good at. Belichick, Patricia, Judge, all these guys were NFL head coaches at one point or another, and they were really good defensive coordinator, special teams coordinator, etc. before that. So they all know how to break down film and then make adjustments so that we get better, right? And that's why that they excelled so much to the point they got to be an NFL head coach, or they excelled to be a dominant coordinator in the league for a while. I think the more time that you just give them to perfect and watch film and take things out and add things in, the better and more flow like you're going to see from this offense. From Mac's standpoint, he's going to take a step forward. Last year, McDaniels, as he should have, babied him. I talked about this before. He didn't really let him open up the offense and get into these spread looks and try to throw the ball down the field or try to do all these crazy RPOs or anything like that. I think this year you're going to get Mac to be able to do more of those things. It's going to be more on him to look at the defense, make adjustments on the fly, possibly call some hot routes, call some audibles at the line of scrimmage. And I think he has, the football intellect and the skill set to be a very good field general in that sense. Yeah. So I really see our offense maybe not coming out the gate. Maybe it's not week 1 or week 2, but I know by week 4, 5, 6, 7, as we get better throughout the season, this offense is going to look good. We have better players than we did last year. Mac's going to be better. The running backs are hungry. I really like what I see from the offense right now, as opposed to what a lot of other people are feeling just due to the coaching staff.
Yeah, no, I mean, it makes sense. I think that, a lot of people are, when they have the problems with the offense, maybe it's more the offensive line thing, which you kind of went over, the tackles being down, switching Wynn and Brown, which I think everybody wants that to happen anyways, because we want Brown to be on that left side, but it's going to cause some problems. And when you hear that, then you start to get like, oh, gee, and you got the Kendrick Bourne thing, like you mentioned. He's a little bit disgruntled, all this kind of stuff. So I can understand where they're down on that. But also, yeah, we have a bunch of number 2s and 3s, but arguably when Devontae Parker is healthy, he's been a borderline number 1 wide receiver anyway. So he has the ability to do that kind of stuff and be that guy. So you don't know what you're going to get with him until we get into the season. Also, like you said, this team always that's just the way that we roll. As you get more tape, as you said, you get better as the season goes on. So the offense should be able to kind of figure things out. And I love that running game. The two-headed monster of Damian Harris and Ramondre Stevenson, I think, is going to be a beastly combination this year. And it seems like Ty Montgomery isn't as hurt as I thought he was going to be from that. So he's going to be in the mix as well as kind of a passing back. So you got a good running back group in that team, that offense. So you got to be happy about that as a Patriots team. Now, you got confidence in the offense. What is something that you don't have confidence in? What's the least confidence you have with this team right now, would you say?
Least confidence. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm like least confident in our defense, but I just feel like our secondary in a whole is as a whole, I'm not necessarily sold on. People are saying that Jalen Mills is taking a step forward and that he's going to be this like lockdown corner on the edge and everything. And then our normal slot guy, who's every defensive back we have has the same last name. I can't remember right now. He's going to be on the other. Jones, yes, Jones. We have so many Joneses, right? So yeah, so they're going to put Jones from the slot guy that he's always played in to an outside guy, and he's a little undersized for that outside position, which kind of scares me. We lost Malcolm Butler to IR for at least 6 to 8 weeks, I'm pretty sure. So it's looking, to me from a defensive back, an outside cornerback position, that we could get burnt in those areas, especially like week 1, you're going against some speed out there. You're going to get Tyreek Hill. You're going to get Jalen Waddle. They're going to try to get some of these guys in some mismatches speed-wise, and it's going to be a little bit tougher for our guys to hang with them. I know safeties, I think we're good. I think,
had a little bit of technical difficulties there, but we are back and we are talking with Coach Camire once again. Glad to have him back on the show. Excited to talk everything Patriots. We've been doing the Patriots conversation so far. We went over kind of our confidence levels in the team, what we're happy about, what we're least confident in. But now I got to ask you specifically, if we're going to break it down to one player on the offensive side of the ball that needs to have a good season for the Patriots to be successful, could you pick out one guy? I'm going to force you to, actually. What would be one guy that needs to have a good season for this team to be successful?
We'll go as far as Mac Jones takes us, man. It's as simple as that. It's year 2. It's sometimes you get that sophomore slump and he takes a step back. I don't think Mac's that type of quarterback, though. I really do think he's mature. I think he's smart. And he's able. I think he's taken a step forward athletically. I think he's gotten a far after playing through a whole season last year. He's going to have a better sense of reading an NFL defense this year. So I mean, if he plays well, I mean, I could see us winning 12 or 13 games. If he, if he's a mediocre, that number is going to turn more into like 9 or 10 games. So I think that's pretty much how our season's going to flow is through our quarterback. Is he going to, take that big step forward, or is he going to, have that slump and either stay baseline or even take a step back?
Yeah, and I mean, he's been another one that they've been reporting that there's frustrations from. I think that he's just an emotional guy, and he's still kind of young enough that he shows that emotion too much. So people think he's frustrated when maybe he's not really that frustrated, or he can figure things out and understand what is going on with the changes on this team. But I mean, I think that Mac Jones is obviously the right answer here. But the other way that I would go with it, I only have to pick one guy, though. I can't pick the entire offensive line. So I'm going to say Trent Brown. I think if Trent Brown can get over any of the problems that he's having and have another one of those really good years where he's not only good pass blocking, but also when he gets out there on a run like that's out to the side, or he gets upfield on those run plays, he's a dominant beast. Who would ever want to see Trent Brown coming downfield at you and try and get that guy when he's trying to block for the running back? So if Trent Brown, really the entire offensive line, but if if Trent Brown can have a great season for this team, I think that's obviously going to make things a lot easier on Mac Jones. It's going to make things easier on the run game. It's going to make that offense go. So if I had to pick one guy, I'm going with Trent Brown at this point, just because I am a little bit worried about the offensive line. I think you got the most questions there, and I think that if he can come through, that holds together a big part of what they're trying to do. You mentioned it before. They have the rookie in Strange. He's got to figure things out. Andrews, we're all hoping and praying that he stays healthy for the entire season. And then you got that right side of the ball that's on Wenu and Isaiah Wynn, who can be a turnstile of a or right tackle. It's going to be so. If we can shore up that left side, I'll be very happy about that. But if we got to flip it to the other side now, we talked offense. On the defensive side of the ball, who's the one guy that you would pick out that needs to have a good season for that, not only that defense to work well, but the whole team to be successful?
I would say going back to what I said earlier. I mean, I would say that if and now his name escapes me for whatever reason, but starting cornerback Jalen Mills, if he can be that solidified number one and can actually do what people are saying he's been doing in camp this year and locking people down, and everyone's saying that he looks faster. He's really grasped onto this Patriots offense. I mean, we've seen it before. Belichick's made chicken salad out of chicken shit by taking other guys like going all the way back to Asante Samuel or going all the way or Malcolm Butler who's back on now and all this. There's plenty of guys that he's taken from this average middle of the pack type of corner to all of a sudden
J.C. Jackson.
Yeah, J.C. Jackson, the most recent one, obviously, right? And all of a sudden, they're put into that starting role, that number one cornerback role. And this could be a year that, you might see Jalen Mills come away with 8 interceptions and make a Pro Bowl or something of that nature, just because he follows that systematic defense that Belichick's always been known for, about making the most out of the talent that he has presented.
Yeah, no, that's going to be a big part of it because I think that the safeties are going to be good, but the corners, obviously, that's a big question. You got some rookies coming in and the 2 Joneses. You got Jonathan Jones moving from a slot corner outside, and then you got Jalen Mills who has to lead the charge for all of them. I love what they're doing with the safeties, but if Jalen Mills doesn't have a good season and can't be more of a, that in that J.C. Jackson role at minimum, where he's at least in the right place at the right time, getting those interception chances, they could have some big problems there. But I'm actually going to go with a guy who's just into his second season here, and that's Christian Barmore. I think Barmore needs to have a big season, take that big step that we all think that he can be. He slid back in the draft because of his attitude issues. He should have been a top-tier talent coming straight out of the draft. Everyone knew it. And he showed last year at points, though it was in minimal packages and things like that, that he can be an absolute beast for this team. And if you got him going, and then you got Matthew Judon also, that front seven looks so strong with those 2 guys firing all cylinders. So if Christian Barmore can take that huge leap in the second year, I think that's going to be a huge critical part. It also helps out your guy as well in Jalen Mills. The more pressure we can get from a Barmore or a Judon or anybody else who's going to be in that front seven, the better it's going to be for those cornerbacks, the less they're going to have to cover. We don't have to worry about the years past where it's like these corners are trying to cover for 5-6 seconds, which makes no sense. They're not going to be able to cover for that long. So give me Christian Barmore having a good year, and I think that's going to be a main part of why the defense could be successful.
Now, one other guy that does come to mind, now that you say Barmore, I'm just thinking of young guys and everything. I think this has to be the year that we see Kyle Duggar really take off and become that, run the alley, outside backer / strong safety / nickel, whatever you want to call him, right? He's just that Patrick Chung type player that the Patriots are always known for having in their defenses. I really would love to see him, just become, unstoppable off the edge of the run game, and then, being able to, bully some tight ends and bully some smaller slot receivers in the pass game as well. I did see the one clip of him in the preseason. I don't know if you saw it, where he came down running the alley, and there was a left guard at about 330 pounds
and he blew
trying
him
to
up.
go out there and lead block. And I watched Kyle Duggar blow him up like I've never seen any safety blow up a guy before.
Yep.
So if he can do that consistently, you have no idea how hard that makes it for the other team to run the ball. So that Kyle Duggar is another one that I think needs to have a huge year for the Patriots defense.
Yeah, I think that whole safety group is going to be big for us. Obviously, you also got what Adrian Phillips can do. You got Jabril Peppers, who's going to be coming in. We'll be interested to see what he could do. A lot of versatile guys who can do a few different things, but Duggar, yeah, he could be huge for this team going forward. So that would be another great one to have actually hit this year. And if everybody does hit, there's a lot of talent on this team. We can make things happen. If you had to put a ceiling on this team right now going into it, what would be the ceiling, the ultimate ceiling for this squad?
Like win-wise?
I would say win-wise, where they end up, what they can possibly do. Yeah, that kind of thing.
I mean, I don't think it's like a wild take for them to make it to like a divisional or AFC championship. I think it would be a wild take to put them as far as going to the Super Bowl this year. I think to get by the Buffalo Bills first off would be a tremendous feat. So obviously I think win wise, I think we can be a 12-13 win team and like be in that mix of being either a wild card or competing to win the division. I don't think it's that far off that we're going to be that far behind the Bills that we can't win this division. Last year we beat them once. They beat us once in the regular season. They beat us in the playoffs pretty good. So I think that we're a better team. They're obviously loaded. Josh Allen looks great. Our defense has improved. Our offense, which is the bigger part of this, has improved, and maybe we can score with them and hang with them a little bit more. So I would say right now to play it safe, I would give us like 12 wins in a division and at least the divisional.
All right. Yeah. And getting into that divisional would be huge. I think right now, I can't see them beating the Bills for the division, but I could see them being a matchup dependent playoff winning team. Like you could win a wild card round if you get matched up against the right team. And then what happens is you go up against a Bills team and maybe you at least put up a better effort against them. And who knows what can happen any given Sunday kind of stuff. But I think if they hit the right matchup, if you get into the playoffs, even with 10 wins, or if they barely can get to 11 wins or something like that, you get into the playoffs, you get a good wild card matchup, you could surprise somebody just with a good game plan, depending on the coaching matchups, things like that. I definitely think that that's the ultimate ceiling for this team. It doesn't feel great right now, though, like I said, because of the coaching situation. A lot of big question marks from that side of things. Obviously, no coordinators named on either side. I know that's so that they can tinker with things and have them paid from their previous teams and all that kind of stuff. But that's my major question right now. But if things go well, this team could be at least a 10-win team, maybe 11, in my opinion. Get into the playoffs. You see what happens. Hopefully you don't get match up against a juggernaut team like the Bills like you did last year and get exposed. But if you get the right matchup, who knows what could happen? You get somebody like an Oakland Raiders team or something like that falls to you, and now all of a sudden you got a good matchup. It could happen.
I honestly don't love us playing the Raiders just because McDaniels. I don't love us playing the Raiders in the playoffs. I just don't want. I feel like McDaniels gonna. I also do think if that happens, I think Belichick's got some things up his sleeve to get McDaniels some headache too. But I think it'll go back. That would be a very close game, in my opinion. I think us in Oakland in a playoff scenario. I know we're going to see them in the regular season.
Right.
I'm already circling that, thinking that that's going to be a 50-50 real game, honestly. So
they both know each other.
I would definitely think the Oakland Raiders are not going to be the Oakland Raiders that we've seen year after year, but definitely a better, well-coached Raiders team. At least that's what it looked to be in the preseason game that we had. It's preseason, but it's all we have on them right now. So
I'd feel better against them than I would against the Bills, though. You got to agree with that.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. The Bills are a shoe-in to win the AFC this year, but like you said, you don't know how the season progresses. You don't know. Stephon Diggs goes down, and now maybe that offense isn't as explosive, and now you never know. You know what I mean? So
Injuries.
I think it's a long season. It's a whole extra game longer this past couple of years. And you know what I mean? For a team to keep it going as long as the Bills have kept winning and done well all the way up to last year, it takes a lot, you know. So we're gonna have to see. You know, one thing that I know from Belichick is consistency. And you know, I think everyone's talking about this coaching staff, talking about Belichick and how he's like lost his fastball, or he's not the same coach that he once was, or that Patricia's call the plays a bad thing, or Judge calling the plays a bad thing, or coaching quarterbacks a bad thing. I really think what you're going to get from this team, no matter what, is going to be consistency. We know Belichick's going to have a damn good idea of who we are going into week one, and he's not going to not pull any punch. He's gonna ride with what he's got, and he's going to just, all right, let's get a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. That consistency is what's been built him this 3-year-old dynasty of Patriots dominance here. You know, it's like people are saying like, oh, like Brady's gone, that's over, this and that. He's still one of the best coaches ever. He's done it without Brady before, in years that Brady's been hurt or suspended and this and that. He had, last year was a rookie quarterback. We made the playoffs. I mean, people are saying that he's a bad coach. I don't see it, man. I don't see it. I think he's still the same guy. He's 70 years old, whatever. He's still the same guy that we've always. He's doing an old school guy, and I think sometimes that really pays off for him because a lot of these new school guys are all over the place, right? But they only last a year, 2 years, 3 years max, and then they're gone. And you never hear them again, right? So, I mean, how many coaches in the NFL you hear of for, he was here for a year, and then he went to here and then he's out of the league. No one ever hears from him. He's coaching like Central Mississippi State or something, So, I really think that Belichick's consistency can lead us to into the playoffs this year. And then when we get into that matchup where you're going to have to play a good team like, the Chiefs or Baltimore, Buffalo, whatever it is out there, Oakland, right? I still trust my guy, man. I'm still going to go ahead and I'm gonna ride out with him with whatever he chooses to go out with, man. He's best to ever do it. The best to ever do it,
Of course. All right, so we've been talking all about what the ceiling is for this team. We both think that at the best, we can be a playoff team. This team can win at least minimum 10, maybe 11, 12, you've said, could be a possibility in the cards, go into the playoffs, you see what matchup you get, and then all of a sudden, you never know what could happen. But there is a possibility out there, and I'm talking with Coach Camire, once again, all about the Patriots. There is a possibility out there that this team does miss the playoffs. And I got to ask, if they were to miss the playoffs this year, and it could be just from a game, could be close, they could be 9-8, they could be 8-9, whatever it is, end up missing the playoffs. We've heard it from a lot of the media, like you said. A lot of people are pretty down on this team. A lot of people think they're not going to make the playoffs. In your opinion, if they were to miss the playoffs, who would be on the hot seat right now?
Hot seat. I mean, from a coaching perspective, I think the reason we wouldn't make the playoffs is that the offense was a complete disaster, and we weren't able to get anything going throughout the year. It didn't get better from week to week. It got worse, and really bad. Then I think it's obviously going to have to be Patricia / Judge that's on the hot seat, this and that. But from a player perspective, I mean, you can't put it on Mac. It's only his second year. He's literally second year quarterbacks already have the excuse of the sophomore slump. It's like written in stone somewhere that there's no second year quarterbacks that can be good.
Right.
Except for Tom Brady, who won a Super Bowl in his second year. So I think you have that ability from Mac. I mean, if you look at just throwing ability and where their football intellect is at this point in their careers, I mean, I Brady back in 2000 compared to Mac in 2022, it's I'm not saying that he's going to have that same type of success or that he's going to lead us to a Super Bowl or something, but I think Mac's a different type of a quarterback where he's going to be able to, lead us to some big games down the stretch that's going to get us into the playoffs or win us a playoff game here and there. I think that's in his cards for this year. I think he's a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback. I mean, it's like I don't see a lot of guys like obviously there's like Herbert who's good, but does Herbert win? You know what I mean?
The coach stinks.
Their coach stinks, but Herbert just he's one game, so it's like is what I mean? Is Carr good? Yeah, now he has a better coach, so maybe he'll win more. Who knows? But I think you have a good setup here. I think you have Belichick. I think you have Mac Jones. I don't think that Belichick's on the hot seat at all. He is the ultimate cold seat. The ultimate cold seat. He's on the Iron Throne, my dog. He's not going to go anywhere. He can lose for the next 5 years, and he can retire whenever he wants, man. He won us 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, it's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. So it's like, yeah, I can't see him being on the hot seat. I could say Patricia/Judge, but then you can also make the case it's their first year in a position like this. So are you really just going to off them and then bring another new system in? So now you're going to have 3 new systems over Mac's first 3 years in the league. That's what bad teams do. That's what like an Oakland Raiders of old would do. Or that's what a New York Jets team would do. That's what a Miami Dolphins team would do. We're different. We're a different organization. We proved to be different for 23 years under Belichick. I think that as we move forward here, we're going to realize that, okay, like Patricia is under the microscope and Judge is under the microscope, and that everybody's going to be like, all right, like what's going to happen with the offense? What's going to happen against Miami week 1? And I don't think you can go ahead and rate an offensive coordinator off their first game ever or their second game ever. You need the whole body of work. You need the whole body of work, start to end. Did we get better each game? Did we make the same mistakes week 1 as week 8 as week 16, right? That's how, I mean, as an offensive coach myself, that's how we really look at it. Week 1, we're playing a game tomorrow night against like a really good St. John's Prep team, right? We know we're going to go out and make a ton of mistakes tomorrow, right? Just like on Sunday, Belichick knows, Patricia knows, Judge knows, Mac Jones knows they're going to go out and make a ton of mistakes.
It's game 1.
Now, exactly. Now, it's
Uh-oh. Technical difficulties just don't quit here on the Clapp Trap. It's not the worst freeze frame, though. I mean, I've seen worse freeze frames. All right, we're going to take a pause then.
Yeah, so pretty much, can they get better from week 1 to week 8 to week 16? Can they get better from the first quarter of Sunday's game to halftime to the fourth quarter? Can we make adjustments and get better as the game goes along? Or maybe they are bad coordinators. Maybe they freak out. Maybe they're like, oh, this isn't working. We'll junk it. We'll start something new next week, and we'll junk it. Those are bad teams. Those are bad coordinators, man. And if you have a good team and a good coordinator, you're going to trust what you've put in and what you've installed during the off season and the preseason, and this week going into the game, running the game plan. You're going to trust that, and you're just going to make adjustments on the fly based off what the defense is giving you.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I think that honestly, Judge and Patricia might already be on the hot seat by not getting a coordinator role given to them, because I think that's a lot easier to get rid of, right? You could even get rid of that mid-season if it's just he's a QB specialist or, a specialist here or there. That role can change really quickly. Coordinator's a lot harder to mid-season just be like, all right, he's no longer our offensive coordinator. But if there was never one in the first place, I guess it doesn't matter. But in all honesty, The hot seat to me, if they don't make the playoffs this year, is actually going to be on Robert Kraft, in my opinion, just because of basically all of the things that he said recently. He has kind of gone out in the media and been like, I don't like the fact that we haven't won a playoff game in 3 or 4 years. I don't like the way that this team has not been able to, rebound the way that I thought they were going to. I didn't like this. I didn't like that. He's going to be the one on the hot seat because everyone's going to be questioning, hey, they didn't make the playoffs. You were acting like if they don't make the playoffs, it's a big deal. Is it a big deal or not? So it's not necessarily that Belichick's on the hot seat. It's that Kraft is going to be on the hot seat from the fan base, thinking that he needs to make some kind of change after the comments that he already made. About how missing the playoffs so much or, not getting a playoff win is such a big deal to him. If he really feels that way, then he's going to be stuck in a corner if they don't make the playoffs. And I'm not going to say that he's going to, can Bill Belichick. He's not going to do that. But now he's going to get all those questions of, hey, I thought you said that it was a big deal if they miss the playoffs. If they miss the playoffs, Robert Kraft is on the hot seat as far as I'm concerned. Obviously, he can't get fired, but he's going to get the fire from all the media, from the fans. Everybody's going to be questioning, where's your head at right now? Do you want to fire Bill? Do you want to go a different direction? What's it going to be? But luckily, I think this team is going to spend a lot in free agency next season anyways, going into next year, just like they did in the previous season. So I think that this team will be okay in the future, even if they miss the playoffs this year. I hope that that's not the case. We'll see how things go. But speaking of the playoffs, the last thing that I want to ask, football related, just to kind of wrap this whole thing up, if you had to give a way too early, that's what everybody's doing right now, a way too early Super Bowl prediction, what would be your Super Bowl prediction for this season?
I think obviously it's easy to go, either Bills or Bengals and just kind of go with the teams that were in it last year and everything. But I would say for Super Bowl contenders, AFC, I think it's the Bills. It'll be a year of the Bills. I think they're gonna have a good run this year, barring any injuries or setbacks or anything. I think they will have enough fire. Let's see, they got lucky they didn't have to play the Bills. In my opinion, they got lucky they didn't have to play the Bills.
Right.
Tyreek Hill making crazy plays in that divisional. But I think if it gets to that point, the NFC, it's still looking to me like it's tough. But I can't go away from it. You can never go away from him. Even though Gisele's mad at him.
Okay.
Why would you ever bet against the guy?
All right.
TB12, baby. Tom Brady, Tampa Bay. It's
Bills, Bucks.
Bills, Bucks. If I was a betting man, that's where I'm at for my money.
Who would win?
Bills, Bucks. Why would you bet against them? Why would you bet against them?
No. All right. So you think of Brady Super Bowl? All right. Fine. Hey, that's what you think. And so I mean, those are some good picks. Bills are the obvious pick in the AFC. I would say Bucks are up there, but I think the NFC is really open right now. I think there's a lot of teams that are kind of just like mid-tier.
Which is why I see an easier path for Tom.
Sure, but I mean, he's going to have a problem in his own division.
Been there before and been, in those situations before. Usually, when it's more wide open, I think has a great chance. There's obviously teams out there like it's not going to be an easy road for him. I think he pretty much got there last year. It's great throwing catch from Stafford to Cooper Kupp there, but
it's true. When it comes down to that kind of stuff, I think that you just name the team that I think is going to go back to it. I think the Rams are going back. I honestly think that they're going to be the team. They're clearly in a buy-in right now mode. They'll probably do it again mid-season, try and go out there and get whatever talent they can to just stack it. They don't care about next year or the year after that. They care about right now. Tom Brady and the Bucks, they're having some issues. They have a tough offensive line. Their defense looks a little shaky. You don't know what's going to come from that. I think that they'll be good. I don't know. It could wane on them as the season goes on. I don't trust anybody like the Dallas Cowboys or like the Green Bay Packers. I don't trust any of those teams. So I'm going to stick with the Rams over there to repeat going back to the Super Bowl, but I'm going to have them losing. and they're actually going to lose to the Baltimore Ravens. I have a feeling that the Ravens are going to have a big season this year, coming back after all those injuries. Yes, sir, I know. I don't think that the Bills are going to be able to do it in the playoffs. I think that the Ravens are going to come out of nowhere. This is my prediction. All right, so leave me alone. They're going to make their run. I think that Lamar Jackson's in a contract year. I think that they're getting back all of those players that were very injured last year, especially on the defensive side. I think that they could be a dominant team. They're going to show what they can do. They're going to beat the Bills. They're going to go on to the Super Bowl, face the Rams. Rams are going to have the hangover, and the Baltimore Ravens are going to be your champion of 2023. That's my prediction for the Super Bowl.
All I'm saying is it's going to be a very, very, very tough environment for Lamar Jackson to go to Buffalo. He's going to go to Buffalo.
Probably.
And beat Josh Allen in Buffalo, in the cold, in the snow, in the 2-degree weather in January.
Bring it on.
Boy, that's tough, man.
All
He's
right.
like, he's running a little slower. It's ice on the ground and stuff. I don't know. I don't know.
We're going to see how it goes.
You called it if it happens. You can be the only one to call it if it happens.
Hey, I'm just saying, I'm going to put in the bet now. I feel like that's a good matchup. I feel like there's a good chance there. But that's all the NFL talk that I wanted to go over with you. But we got another team that I need to get some questions out about. This team right over here, if you're watching on the YouTube stream or on the YouTube video, which if you're not, we do have the YouTube channel up now. So go and look for the Clapp Trap on there. See this ugly mug and great Coach Camire on there as well. But I got some Celtics questions for you. Obviously, that's another one of your favorite teams. We just came from a season where we were right there, able to win a finals, just didn't have enough firepower. And now you're going back into this season after getting Malcolm Brogdon. And yes, Gallinari happened, and now he's gone, unfortunately. So we'll see how things go with that. But as the team is built right now by adding Brogdon in, is this Celtics team to you finals or bust?
Yeah, we're going back.
Yeah,
we're going back with it this year.
But is it a disappointment if they don't make it? Is what I'm basically saying. If they don't make it back to the finals,
now they're at the point where, like, see, I was okay with us just getting there last year.
Right.
A lot of people were mad that we win it, but when really looking at it, like, nobody would have said that we would have been in it at the beginning of the season. No, and I was more than happy enough even just getting to that point where we finally got over that hump of getting into the finals, right?
I didn't even think they were going to make the playoffs.
Now you have to not just get there; you have to win it. I don't care. That's what it is. It's year what for Tatum. It's year what for Brown.
Yeah.
You know, they're both 5 and 6, I think.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
You know, it's now or never, guys. I'm looking down, man. This is the prime right here. Yeah. The next 3 to 5 seasons is their primes, and I expect them to get 3 championships out of the next 5 years. That's what I want. That's what if you're listening right now, that's what's on the table right now. That's all I want. I want a dynasty 3 out of the next 5.
That's it. Just 3. You're not asking for a lot.
Hey, start this year. Get me 1. You got to get me 1. Okay, we were there last year. We were there. You know what I mean? Yet Tatum had the injury. You know what I mean? It was Brown that was, you know what I mean, that had to step up, and he did step up in a big way. Imagine if we had a healthier Tatum in that scenario, and a Brown that showed the dog that he had in him. And then you have those role players like we all had. Lob Williams stays healthy. You have Brogdon out there doing some things. You know, you get steps forward from both those guys. You get steps forward from obviously Marcus Smart, who was Defensive Player of the Year last year. He's obviously going to be doing those things again. Mm-hmm. You're going to have, you're going to have Peyton Pritchard hopefully taking a step forward in the point guard position and being able to offer you some more offense, because he made some big shots in that playoff run last year. I think he can go and do it even more, have another year under his belt this year. You know?
Might not be any minutes for him.
I think he's definitely going to see minutes. I don't see him not getting minutes in the backup point guard role. He's gonna go up there and he's going to do what he does. He's going to shoot. He's going to dribble, and he's going to be an effort guy. And it's going to be, you know what I mean? That's just what he is. You know, and I think that he's a type of player who we need to be like a big shot off the bench. Like, you know, everything's slowed down. He's an energy guy. There. Yeah, you hit the 3, and then you go back on defense. You get a steal, and a pass, and you know what I mean. He's a very. I think this team is going to definitely make a run at the finals again, and I think they're going to take it home this year. I think anything less than that would be a huge disappointment.
All right, yeah. So you're win it or bust. I'm a little bit underneath that. I do think it's finals or bust. If you don't make the finals again, I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed. I don't care that the Cavs got better and they're going to be in your way with Donovan Mitchell. I don't care that the Bucks are going to be healthier and they're going to have Chris Middleton. I don't care that the dumpster fire that is the Brooklyn Nets are going to be coming back.
Don't even bring them up. Oh my God!
Miami Heat. Miami Heat. I don't care any of these teams. You should be in the finals. You should be the number one team in the East. And they've completely flipped the switch. Last year, I thought they weren't even going to necessarily be like a playoff team, barely making it in, especially halfway through the season. You saw how that team was going. They flipped the switch. They made the right trades. They've now brought in Malcolm Brogdon. You have to be in the finals this year, or it's a disappointment. That's all. That's the only way you can put it at this point. I'm not going as far as you have to win it yet, but you need to be there. You need to show me that you're that team that's just continuously getting back to the finals. And then maybe your 3 championships will come along the way if you're continuously doing that. Who knows?
My thing is like you were there last year and you had they won game 1.
Yeah.
They won game.
Yep.
You won game 1 of the
you
NBA
surprisingly
finals,
won. You surprisingly made that comeback at the end of the game.
Won game 1. You know what I mean? Like that to me is like we should have won the series. To me, like you had gone in there and you stole game 1 in Golden State. Like
they didn't have enough,
dude. Like what more can we expect as fans? We got so close. We won game 1 of the NBA Finals in an away game, and we obviously it fell apart as the series went on. But I mean, I that to me shows me that we're this close. This close. If you win game 2, I think it's a completely different series.
Of course.
Game 2 was a little funny.
But also Steph Curry just decided to show you that he was the best player in the series. Steph Curry turned it on and became the best player in the series and was unstoppable. And there's nothing you could do about that.
And they let Draymond do whatever he wanted in the second game. All right.
I mean, hey.
And that's something that you might have to deal with an NBA team that's won 3 or 4 championships or however many they've had.
Can't fall into that.
Exactly. I'm just saying that, I think at some point or another, you're going to see the tide shift in the NBA. I think everybody can see that Golden State team they're still great, but even last year, they took a step. They were a step down from the Golden State teams of before. 100%. You can't.
They've been getting injured.
Those Durant teams and this and that, those teams, and the early Steph Curry teams, with the Splash Brothers. It wasn't even the Splash Brothers last year. It was just Curry.
Mm-hmm.
So if we can go in there and we can just say, if we stop Steph Curry, why can't we win it?
Who can stop Steph Curry there? Nobody can stop Steph Curry. Nobody can stop him.
It's not easy. But if you can do that, if you can stop that man, if you can just, make everybody else beat you, in my opinion.
You can only hope to contain him. You can only hope to contain him. He's the greatest shooter of all time.
I think we'll be ready for him next year.
Yeah, that could be the case. But I think you have a different type of confidence out of Jalen and Jason this year. I think early in the season you're going to notice that. I think whereas before we've had slow starts or slow middles and everything, I think this will be the year that we'll have a consistent 1 or 2 seed. I hope that's the case. I hope that's the case.
Have a dominant Celtics team the whole year, and I think we get home field advantage. I think we go in there. Game 1 of the finals is in Boston. Golden State's right back. Everybody's yelling at them. We win the first 2 games. We win the third one in Golden State. We say goodbye with the sweep and bringing Jason Tatum's got the boom out of the court. He's on his knees. He's holding the trophy in between his knees, holding his head. It's gonna be like that Kobe Bryant picture. I'm telling you, man.
The green goo.
Deuce is gonna be over there. Deuce is gonna be over there chugging the champagne. I'm just saying. I'm ready for it. or
Okay,
ready.
I could tell. I could tell that you're ready. The green goo is actually starting to come through the computer onto my side of things right now. There's so much of it; it's piling up on your side. But I mean, hey, we were right there. I feel like you just were missing one piece, and now you go into this offseason, you add Malcolm Brogdon, and then you added Gallinari, which I thought was going to be a great piece for us. Obviously, he gets messed up in FIBA basketball, which I hate, but whatever. Things happen. People get injured. But I still feel like I want to add that one more piece, that another extra guy that can come off the bench, get you some threes, a little bit of, something extra spark, something like that. And one of the major rumors that's been coming for this Celtics team recently is the possibility of going after a player like Carmelo Anthony. So I got to ask you, are you in or out on Melo coming to the Celtics, and why?
Listen, I was in 3 years ago. I was in 2 years ago. I was in last year. Why would you not be in? This dude is great. He can shoot the ball and make it in the basket consistently with a guy in his face.
Mm-hmm.
I think on a team where you have your big guns, you have your Tatum, you have your Jaylen Brown, you have Rob Williams, you have Marcus Smart, you have all these guys, you have Brogdon now, right? You have all these little role player guys that we've had, right? Like, I think the only real thing that you miss out of that second unit when you have to sit down Tatum or sit down Brown is that you just miss the dog. Who's the dog out there? Who's the one who you just give the ball to and he'll make a play? Doesn't matter if there's a guy in his face. He's going to mid-range, spin around, and it's going to go in. You know what I mean? Like, I think that Carmelo Anthony at this point in his career, he knows his role. He knows he's not a starter in the NBA. He knows that the clock is ticking very fast for him. That hourglass is dwindling down with some sand right now. Yeah. And I think that Carmelo Anthony realized that if I can go in there and I can give, a team like the Boston Celtics 15 quality minutes a night, shooting the ball from three, creating offense, and just playing like not great D, but just average D, that's all you need. And I think that would definitely make us a better team.
Yeah.
I mean, Carmelo Anthony is just known for being that Paul Pierce-like player where he creates his own offense. He can get contact and finish. He can shoot the long ball. He's a perfect player, role player at this point in his career that the Celtics could add.
Well, I think that you nailed it there. At this point in his career, he understands what role he has to play. He knows he's not the superstar of the team anymore. He's going to be a guy that probably comes off of the bench. Maybe a few games during the regular season he'll start just because of injury or whatever, but he's not going to be your top tier guy. He's going to come off, do his thing. Like you said, he's got his specific shots. He's got that mid-range jumper, which is a dying breed in the NBA nowadays. One of the things that we wish the Celtics would do more often, guys like Jason Tatum, who is buttery from 2-point range, mid-range shots all the time, and yet he wants to step back and hit threes all the time. Which, whatever, he's a superstar. He can do what he wants. But that Carmelo is going to come in, do that role. And I know that a lot of people are like, well, his defense. This team is so defensively sound that they should be able to make up for Carmelo Anthony whenever he's on the floor. This is the best defensive team in the NBA last year, and we're bringing everyone back, and they're only getting better. You can't make up for Carmelo Anthony being out there. Like I said this on the Wednesday show. It's not like you have Isaiah Thomas out there who is physically not big enough to be a defensive threat. At least Carmelo Anthony is an NBA-sized player, and he can rebound too. So even if he's not defending well, he can rebound the ball. He can be a big body. He can get hot from three. He'll take his correct shots. That's literally all that we're looking for right now coming off of the bench for this team. If we had somebody like that last year in the finals, dare I say, we could have won that just with the team that we had without Malcolm Brogdon. You also added Malcolm Brogdon on top of that. Huge for this team. So I'm in on Carmelo Anthony. I'm surprised anyone's out on him. Everybody keeps saying he's like a locker room cancer and things like that. I think that's a complete bogus BS statement. I don't think that he's like that at all. I also don't think that you're going to have guys like Tatum and Brown being in awe, like, oh, geez, it's Carmelo Anthony, and then they're going to change their game or anything, which I've heard as well. None of that is true. He would fit in fine with this team. I don't know why anybody would be against it. So we're both in on Carmelo Anthony. I think that that's the way you should be. But there's one other name that I wanted to float out there that was being talked about as well. It's a great rumor about a trade that would basically be the Celtics giving them nothing and getting back in return from the Utah Jazz and our own old friend Danny Ainge trying to get rid of a salary dump in Rudy Gay. Would you be interested in the rumors for Boston trading for Rudy Gay? And just for those who don't know, the trade rumors would be a future second round pick that's top 55 protected, and the Celtics $6.1 million trade exception. Yay, they'd finally use a trade exception for something, and it would be that Juan Hernan Gomez trade exception. Would you be on board for Rudy Gay as well?
Yeah, I mean, that's like a player that won't hurt us. And I think if the Celtics are trying to win right now, then I think you go out and you try to find these veterans that are hungry, that want to win a championship, that have done great things in this league. Rudy Gay's done really good things in this league for years, but just never gets that notoriety for it because you play for the Utah Jazz. Or, Carmelo Anthony spent all those years down in Denver and never won anything.
Right.
Or, you know what I mean? It's like these guys are all hungry. They've all been on, let's face it, mediocre teams throughout their NBA careers where they've excelled on those teams because they were the guy, but they just never had an opportunity to have an organization that had everything set up for them to go make a run deep in the playoffs where they could actually utilize their skills to win an NBA championship. Where I think this year, if you had a Rudy Gay or Carmelo Anthony or Rajon Rondo, Isaiah Thomas, whoever name you want to throw out there, a veteran who's hungry and wants to come and give us minutes, 5, 10, 15 minutes a game of hard basketball, then I think you bring him on. Whoever that name is, whoever he pops up. All right.
What about DeMarcus Cousins?
Why not? Why not?
Dwight Howard.
Dwight
Howard.
Sure.
All right.
Sure.
All right.
Those are all names that Dwight Howard's won a championship. He proved he can do it.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like he proved, just like Rajon Rondo. I would be if they said Rajon Rondo came back to Boston. I'm going deep into my drawers, into my attic, and I'm going to find that jersey back from 2009, 2008, 2006, 7, whatever. I'm dusting it off, of course. But I'm throwing it right back on, baby. Nine's back. We're here.
All right. I like it.
So. I think any veteran that is willing to buy into our system, that is a great system. I think Udoka has done a great job. I think Ime's literally. He's done a terrific job. Your first year as a coach, you go to the freaking NBA Finals, you win game 1 of the NBA Finals, dude. It's you can't ask for anything more than that, man. Come on now.
I've changed my whole thing with NBA coaches is it doesn't matter. It only is buy-in when it comes to the NBA. I know. I'm out here by myself.
Just because I do agree with you. Some teams like those Spoelstra Heat teams and everything, and sometimes you just have the guys. And you just if LeBron James is on your team, you're not even the coach. He's the coach.
Right.
So I understand that. But the Celtics organization is a very different organization where coaching has always been a very important aspect of what's going on the floor. I think you had that with Doc Rivers. I think you had that with Brad Stevens for years, where we were a very system-led team where we created an offensive system that got Isaiah Thomas an MVP look, you know what I mean? Now you brought in another coach, Ime, who's brought this defensive presence to the locker room that we never had before. Even all those Brad Stevens teams, even all those Doc Rivers teams. Even when you had KG on the floor, I don't know that we were playing the type of defense that I was seeing now.
Whoa. Let's not hold on. When you had KG and you had Posey and you had all these other players that were buying Perkins and Allen.
I'm comparing the two right now. I think you just had the defensive player of the year from a point guard position that's never happened in the past 40 years. And it was the first year Ime as a coach. And it was the first year as Ime coach. We go to the finals. We win game 1 of the finals. We're almost there. And it's like you said, we were the best rated team defensively in the end. I think that stuff doesn't happen by chance. I don't think that's just the players making that happen. That's not Marcus Smart going out there and be like, we're going to be the best team in the NBA this year defensively. I think he's the right person to have in that situation where you bring Ime and then you already have a defensive stud like Marcus Smart and a defensive stud like Lob Williams. But I think like they were always good defensive players, right? But now in the right system, they are great defensive players. They've taken this leap where both of them could have almost won the MVP defensively last year.
Sure. Yeah. No, I agree. I agree with what you're saying. Just the only thing that's been in my mind, and this is, I shouldn't say it again. I've said it a million times, but they like Brad Stevens was a great coach until all of a sudden people didn't buy in anymore, and now he wasn't a great coach anymore. Doc Rivers, similar thing, great coach with certain players. Then once the players weren't really buying in on him, he's not as good of a coach anymore. Ime Udoka, great coach when everyone's buying in. Once somebody doesn't want to buy in anymore, we'll wait and see. I maybe I'm wrong, but it seems like it's repeated itself that these coaches are absolutely insane, and we talk about how great they are until the players don't want to buy in anymore, and then all of a sudden they're not a good coach or they're not good enough anymore. It just changes.
I think the best coaches though, like, get buy-in from their players. I think those are the best the best coaches. I me as a coach, I try to treat my players with the mentality that they will run through a brick wall for me because they just love playing for me that much. And I think Ime gives those vibes where I don't think you were necessarily getting that from Brad Stevens. Yes, a terrific genius basketball mind, and he knew where to put all the X's and the O's on the court. But there's an aspect of sports that's deeper than that, where if I have a guy who's like ride or die for me, and he's going 110% every single day, diving on the floor for everything because he wants to play the type of basketball that coach wants, then I think you get an even better player out of that. Whereas, maybe a Brad Stevens, they were like, all right, yeah, Brad can draw up all these nice drawings on the whiteboard and everything, but like, what is Brad giving us, like, from a mental aspect or a locker room aspect where is he motivating us or driving us to, make ourselves better every single day? You know what I mean? Is he just kind of like, all right, guys, like they run this on defense. We're going to do this on offense today. And this is what we're going to do. All right, let's do it really well today, guys. You know what I mean? It's like, I think Ime, has changed that locker room slightly into the sense that like now I think those guys really respect what's going on in there.
They respect that he's not some little twerp nerd that's just trying to tell him what to do. He was actually an NBA player. That's all they respect right now, but whatever. I get it. I get it.
Fine. If that's what it takes for them to be great, I think that's the point.
Fine. All right. Well, I hope that works. And I hope it works for the next 3 to 5 years. And I hope that there's 3 championships in the Boston Celtics future, as Coach Camire has said. But that's going to do it for today's episode. I just want to say thank you to Coach for coming back on. You'll obviously be on as much as we can get you on to talk all things Patriots and Celtics coming up with the new season. It's exciting times, people. We're getting back into it. But yes, thank you again, Coach, and we'll see you again soon.
Thanks for having me, my dude.
All right. It's time for the gambling competition to come back. We haven't had this one for the summer. Obviously, we do this for football season. We involve college and NFL picks. In this one, though, most of us only do NFL picks. Cam is really the one who does the college picks because he thinks he knows something about it. We'll see how that works out for him this year, but I've got all the guys coming back except for Andrew. Unfortunately, he will not be trying to defend his crown this year. He has got other things that he has got to be doing for giving out his picks. So we'll have him on the shows. He'll talk about some picks. Maybe we'll get some stuff for Thursday and Monday night games. But for the remainder of the season, he is not going to be involved in the gambling competition. So you got myself, Matt, you got Cam, you got Dan. So we're going to get into these picks here. We're going to see how everything goes. If you weren't following along last year, basically the way that we're doing this is every single week, we're going to give out 5 picks each. And by the end of the season, we're going to see who has the best record overall. I'm going to keep the statistics on what kind of bets that these guys are going on, what myself, everybody else, what's hitting, what's not. And we're going to continue giving that information out mostly on our Twitter page, which is at the Clapp Trap. So if you're not following along with the Twitter account yet and you want to follow along with these picks that are being made, we will always give them out before the games start on Sunday. Most likely early morning Sunday is when I'll put them out on Twitter, possibly Saturday night, depending on how things go. We'll see how the season continues, but I'm excited to get back into it. I know that the guys are as well. So let's start it off here. I'm going to play for you the first set of picks, which we've got our boy Dan coming in here. So his picks are up right now.
Clappy, week 1, after a bad year last year, 10 rebounds. Love the board. First game, Carolina -1.5 against Cleveland. Cleveland, there's too many things going on. Jacoby Brissett, kind of some line issues. I think Baker's going to feed off the Cleveland crowd. I like Carolina. I think they're kind of a sneaky team. Also kind of like the under 42.5, but that's not an official pick. I like Cincy -6.5 versus Pittsburgh. I think Cincy's going to come out hard. I don't expect them to have the Super Bowl hangover. I think they revamped their line in the offseason. I think they're going to be dangerous all year. Game 3, love Minnesota +1.5 versus Green Bay. I think they're going to win that outright. Green Bay, Rodgers hasn't had that much time with his new receivers. I think Minnesota's going to have a good offense this year. I kind of like Kirk Cousins to put up a good year. Kind of like the under in that too, off of our official pick. Game 4, love the Vegas Raiders +3.5 at the Chargers. This should be a pick'em game. I know the Chargers are at home, but I think Vegas is going to be a sneaky team. I kind of like them to win that division, honestly. Chandler Jones and Max Crosby are going to cause havoc. 5th game, I got Philly versus Detroit under 48.5. I know Detroit doesn't have a good defense. Philly, they revamped their defense. I think Detroit's going to be a hard team to play against all year. I don't know if they're going to win, but they're going to be jacked up after Hard Knocks' first home game. I think that's going to be a competitive ball game, and they're both going to try to run the ball. So, all right, let's get off to a hot start. All right, bye.
There we go. I know that Dan is looking to get back to it after last year. A couple of faulting on some weekends there that put him down in the standings. I know that he's ready to get back to it. So once again, just to reiterate his picks, he has Panthers -1.5 at home against the Browns. He has Bengals -6.5 at home against the Steelers. Vikings +1.5 at home against the Packers. Raiders +3.5 at the Chargers. And lastly, he went with the Eagles Lions under 48.5 points. So good card for him. Let's go on to our next picks, which is from Cam. Hey, y'all, it's Cam. We'll see if he says it.
Hey, y'all, it's Cam. I'm back with another year of trash picks. We have 3 in college for this week and 2 in the NFL. We'll start in college. Duke and Northwestern under 58. The total when they played last year was 49.5, and I think both defenses are much better than they were last year, so I'm not sure why it's so much higher. Kentucky and Florida under 52. Both offenses play with a slow pace. Kentucky O-line looked terrible in their first game, but their defense was really good at preventing big plays. And the last college one is Eastern Michigan +11.5 versus Louisiana. Louisiana's in a complete rebuild, and their offense looked terrible in their first game against an FCS team. Now we'll move to the NFL for the last 2. Got the Patriots +3.5 against the Dolphins. I think the teams are even, so I'll take the points. And in week 1 since 2014, division underdogs are 61-41-2 against the spread, which is 59%. And the last one is the Steelers +6.5. The same division underdog stat from the Patriots applies to this, and also Mike Tomlin is 19-6-2 against the spread as a division underdog in his career. To recap, it's Duke Northwestern under 58, Florida Kentucky under 52, Eastern Michigan +11.5, and Steelers +6.5, and Patriots +3.5.
All right, you heard it there. Cam has got 3 picks from the college system, and then he's got a couple of picks for the NFL as well. I like to see that he's going with the Patriots. I'm hoping that he's right on that one. Should be a close game as well. But once again, he already kind of recapped it. But Duke Northwestern under 58 points. Kentucky, Florida under 52. He's got Eastern Michigan +11.5 against Louisiana. The Patriots +3.5 against the Dolphins, and the Steelers plus 6.5 against the Bengals. So some good picks for Cam right there. He's going to be trying to bounce back as well off of last season. Did okay, up and down. Ended up coming down to the wire in the last week, I think, between Cam, myself, and Andrew, but Andrew was able to pull it off. So we've got those picks underway. Now we're going to get into my picks, okay? So what I've got for you this week is I'm starting off with Ravens -7 at the Jets. This is a team in the Ravens that I think is due for a big comeback. I think a lot of people are high on them right now, not only from the fantasy rankings, but also in the league this year. I think that they're going to do well. It's my prediction for a Super Bowl team, in all honesty, from the AFC. So I'm taking Ravens -7 at the Jets, starting off the season strong against a bad Jets team. Next pick I'm going with is Eagles -4.5 at the Lions. That's another pick where a lot of people are high on the Eagles right now this season. A lot of people thinking that their offense is going to take a leap forward with Jalen Hurts being the catalyst to such a good season. They've got some good weapons now. You brought in A.J. Brown from the Titans. You got a good run game. It seems like they're going to be able to handle themselves. And though the Lions are we all want the Lions to be good. They got that interesting coaching, and it seems like they're going to be a decent team. I think that the Eagles jump out first here, so I'm taking -4.5 points at the Lions for the Eagles as my second pick. My third pick is going to be Vikings +1.5 at home against the Packers. The Vikings have a strong offense. The Packers have a good defense, but I'm still not sure what their weapons are going to look like with Aaron Rodgers now that they've lost Devontae Adams. Obviously, they have good running backs, but when you got a guy like Lazard as basically your number one wide receiver for them, I'm not trusting too much in their offense overall. I think the Vikings have a great offense, and they're at home. I'll take the points. So Vikings +1.5. At home against the Packers, just like Mendez did. Next pick we're going with is Chargers, Raiders, under 52 points in this game right now. I feel as though the Chargers defense is going to be one of the better ones in the AFC. Obviously, they loaded up with a lot of players. You've heard my rants about J.C. Jackson, though he's going to be injured for the beginning of the season. I still think that they have a ton of weapons on that defense for the Chargers. The the Las Vegas Raiders, are trying to get a new offense implemented in, and though they have a ton of weapons, it might be a slow start for them. So I'm expecting defense in this one. I'll take under the 52 points. I think that's a lot of points for this game specifically. So Chargers, Raiders, under 52 is my fourth pick. My last pick is going to be Buccaneers, Cowboys, over 50.5. This is the Sunday night game. I think that both teams are not going to be playing a ton of defense, but the offense will still be strong. We know how Dak Prescott and that Cowboys offense can run when Dak is healthy. They are going to be really good. CeeDee Lamb is a solid, now number one wide receiver for them. Their offensive line might be not as good as it was in the past, though. I still think they're going to be able to score points, and that Buccaneers team with Tom Brady leading the way, they're going to score points. So give me over 50.5 points in the Buccaneers Cowboys game as my number 5 pick. All right, we're moving on to our last slate of picks. That's Matt's picks. We're going to get him to either call in for the next one or be on camera for the next one. But for right now, you got me. So Matt is going with, starting off, a lot of team total unders right now, but he's starting off with Falcons team total under 17.5 points, thinking that the Falcons aren't going to score that much in their home or in their opener for the season. His next pick is Colts -7 at the Texans, thinking that, I'm assuming the Texans are not going to be really good in this one, like a lot of people are thinking. He's next going with, for his third picks, Patriots team total under 20.5 points. You know that he's very low on the Patriots this year. A lot of people are, even in New England. So he's taking the under 20.5 team total points for the Patriots in game one against the Dolphins. Next pick for him, Jets team total under 19.5 points. Jets stink. We all know that. So I'm not surprised with this pick here. Last one he's going with is Eagles Lions under 49 points. Must think that they're not going to get off to a hot start in that one as well. And so we'll see how that goes. So those are the picks for this week going into the gambling competition. We'll be back with more next week, and it's going to be a great competition this year. I can't wait to do more content all revolving around the gambling side of things. I appreciate you guys tuning into the podcast. It'll all be up as a podcast episode wherever the Clapp Trap, you search for the Clapp Trap, you'll be able to find it on any of the podcast areas, Google Podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, any of those ones, you'll be able to find it. Also, obviously, we've got the YouTube channel now, as you can see, and you are watching right now. If you're watching the YouTube, this is going to be a fun year for us, so I'm looking forward to it. All right, you guys have a great weekend. Let's go and let's see what this NFL slate is going to bring us.